Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Genuine Chit-Chat. Before we get started, I'll just let you guys know that this episode is with my buddy Tom, who I did one of the last podcasts with a couple of weeks ago. And we just talk about the movie The Room, the subsequent, almost like biopic with James Franco and Dave Franco, called The Disaster Artist, all about The Room. And we talk about Tommy Wiseau, who's the director, writer, producer and main actor in The Room. Why one of the world's worst movies is also just so brilliant and so well received. And we talk about that, how it is a disaster artist, and yeah, so if you're into The Room and all the disaster artists, and it's worth a listen. We don't really talk about much else apart from that, so this one's quite a sort of a narrow podcast when it comes to subjects and stuff, quite a specific one. But yeah, you guys should always go out and watch The Room. It's an experience to be, that's really it, it's just an experience to be had, and then watching the disaster artist just makes it so much better and so much funnier. So yeah, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Put an iTunes review if you can. And yeah, I'll be back at the end. Thanks. And I was going to say also that I said last week that I was going to do an interview with Dom. I released the interview rather, and I lied to everyone. So I'm sorry. I'm a disappointment to all of you hardcore listeners. But yeah, the one out with Dom will probably be out next week, or be the week after that. I haven't fully decided because I haven't decided what I'm doing over the Christmas period and stuff. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. I'm recording this intro. Normally I record the intros when the other person has left, but Tom was laying on the sofa looking sorry for himself. We just spent like an hour talking about The Room, but we spent about an hour before talking about The Room, looking up things to do with The Room, and looking up quotes and all the sort of information about it, just so we had a vague idea, and we ended up just rambling anyway. But yeah, you're tearing me apart, Tom. You're tearing me apart. Just let over there smiling, because unfortunately the mic's near me, so you talking can't really hear you.
You're tearing me apart, Michael!
There we go. Right, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll speak to you at the end. Welcome to Genuine Chit-Chat, where we have honest conversations with interesting people. And I'm your host, Mike Burton. Oh, hi, Tom.
Oh, hi, Mike.
You're much better than me. So yeah, today we'll be talking about The Room and The Disaster Artist, because I think I watched The Room, about a month ago with you, and then obviously Disaster Artist came out last week, I think.
Yeah, last Wednesday. I think we saw it on opening night, technically.
You did, yeah. I think. Did I? No, I think. I can't remember when I watched it specifically, but.
What, The Disaster Artist?
Yeah, I can't remember what day it was.
We watched it together. It was on Wednesday.
Oh, we watched it together, did we? Okay. Oh yeah, of course it is. Me, you, and Callum. See, I'm terrible. It's because last night me and you had heavy drinking sessions, even though you were at work doing, I was just going out with my family, getting mullered. We planned going to the Christmas market, and then we just didn't. So, so we go to the Christmas market. Yeah, Mike, good plan. And then I just didn't want to go. And no one was really at phase. We got there quite late and out of Mexico. And went, let's go to the Alex. Anyway, for those, I imagine most people listening to this would have seen The Room and The Disaster Artist. Fortunately, I doubt we're going to spoil any of The Disaster Artist, because I don't think you can really spoil it.
No, not really.
No. It's almost like a making of. It's a biopic. It's like the making of The Room, and it's basically all about Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sustero.
Yeah, it's basically a remake of Greg Sustero's book, isn't it?
Yeah, The Disaster Artist, and it's called like Disaster Artist with like a colon and then about like another whole sentence thing, which I can't remember and I didn't read.
I can't remember what it is. Actually.
I'm a terrible interviewer. I'm a terrible podcasting host in general.
You are.
Not as bad as Tommy Wiseau's dialogue in The Room, but it's still pretty atrocious. I think we should do before we start specifically talking about The Room and what our favourite parts are, is speak about what some of our favourite lines are. Now, there's the big one, which is the infamous water bottle scene, where it's just where he walks out of the bloody the shed, and it's like, I did not hit her. I did not. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yep, I love that bit. Obviously, that's one of the main bits. But the cheaping bit's pretty good. Cheep, 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 cheep. Yeah, I do quite like that. I like watching loads of random old men, or random like 30, 40, potentially 50-year-old men wearing tuxedos throwing an American football between each other.
All supposed to be of varying ages, but obviously not.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? It's just like, I don't really understand. That psychologist that comes into it, that made no sense to me at all.
But you always play psychologist with us. He is a psychologist, like doesn't play it.
Yeah, he's like playing a psychologist. You asked him to come over and ask for his opinion because he's a psychologist, so what do you want from him? There's obviously, I've got written down here as well a few things, which is the amount of times that Tommy says hi as in just hi to someone, is around 15 times. The amount of times that the American football is thrown, like people throwing it and catching it and stuff, I think is around 35 times. And the amount of times that Tommy Wiseau does his amazing laugh, the sort of thing.
What a story, Mark.
What a story, Mark. He does that 28 times. Which is quite a lot for an hour and 40 minutes of a movie, especially because most of it is in the first 10 minutes, and then you watch the first 15 minutes and you watch the pretty bad sex scene, and then 5 minutes later, just in case
watch the same one again.
Yeah, like except I think it's ever so slight amount edited, like it's slightly shorter.
Yeah, it's shorter.
Like, so they just clearly have sex the exact same way every time. It's always with a belly button.
Always the belly button.
Always the belly button. That's the best hole, to be fair. You don't put it in the mouth, you don't put it in the bum, you don't put it in the front bum, you put it right through the belly button, ejaculates straight into their stomach.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. I don't think the belly button goes straight to the stomach, but that's not the point. You can make it go that way. But yeah, because you showed me this film, The Room, obviously a month or so ago, and I put a review up on it on the Instagram page, and not a lot of people appreciated it because I gave it like 6%, which I kind of stand by that. If anything, it's one of those films where it's so unbelievably bad, it is just absolutely atrocious, but it's enjoyable to watch. When I wrote the review of it, it was trying to be more objective of like, this film is objectively shit. Like, you can't think this film is good, but it's amazing to watch because it's so bad.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty of it. And just like, and then what I found is I watched it and I thought it was quite funny and we were quoting it quite a lot. And then we watched The Disaster Artist. And then since then it's just brought like a whole new level of appreciation because it's basically just seeing behind the scenes of it.
Yeah.
And it's just obviously not 100% of it is true, but a huge chunk of it is.
I'm pretty sure most of it seems to be.
Yeah, there's a cameo of Bryan Cranston, and obviously that I looked that up afterwards, and it's about him offering Greg a show while he was filming The Room, and Greg said no.
Well, no, he said yes, but Tommy wouldn't let him go and do it.
Because he needed the beard, didn't he? He needed
for the other thing, but Tommy said it was so important for him to just randomly be clean shaven for one.
For that one scene specifically, even though he could have just waited.
And it was just so that he could call him Babyface.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, the Bryan Cranston scene, that wasn't real. That didn't actually happen. He didn't actually talk to Bryan Cranston and potentially get on Malcolm in the Middle, but there was another executive or something, another show that he apparently almost got, which is quite cool.
Sorry, I was just getting your review up on iMovies. You did give it 6%.
Yeah. My review of it was it's objectively a terrible film, but it is really good.
And that like any time the plot needed to, or like something would happen, and they'd get them to talk about it, and then they'd just say, "I can't talk about it," and leave the room. Yeah, and it was like every time someone would leave the room, someone else would enter the room almost immediately after, and it was just like all these. It was like none of it made any. It was almost like a computer kind of said, "Well, this is how you make films. This is what's in a film," and then it's like, "Well, it's not." No, as Reese described it, from what he's seen of The Room, he said like the dialogue in it is almost written by a 12-year-old because there's no special adjectives or anything like that. There's nothing in particular that kind of flows. It's just it's very peculiar. What about you? What do you think? Like, have you watched it twice now? Is that? Yeah, I have watched it twice.
That was once for me, and then once when you first saw it. When did you first watch it? What made you first watch it?
My friends, they found it online, I guess, and Joe, Michelle, I remember him being around my house. I think you're going to have him on a podcast at some point.
Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember he was around my house and he was like, "Oh, we're going to watch this movie," and he showed me this like fan-made trailer on YouTube, right. And I was just like, what the actual fuck? I'm never watching this.
Yeah.
And then we went round, saw the house one day, and we just did watch it.
Yeah, I've seen I've seen a couple of films that are so bad that they're not funny.
Yeah, we had like a bad movie night. We watched the Batman with, I can't remember the name of it. It's got Arnie in it.
Oh, the Mr. Freeze one. That's Batman and Robin, I think.
Yeah, we watched that, and then that was like fucking atrocious. And then we watched The Room after that.
Yeah, there's a film called Fear.com, and that's the worst film I've ever seen in my life. That was just so bad, it wasn't even funny. I just got halfway through it, and it's just unwatchable. It's quite weird, because it has the girl... Oh, what's the fucking name? The woman who plays... oh god, I forgot her name. Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones. She's in Fear.com.
I think is it Lana Headey or something like that?
I think it is Lana Headey. I knew it was something like Lana or Carla or something like that. And Yeah, she's in it, and so's a guy who played Deacon Frost from the Blade film, the first Blade movie. But the film, and it's got Stephen Rea in it, who is a detective in V for Vendetta.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you watch the film, and it just sucks the whole time. It's just so boring and so bad. Constantly, it's like, this is not worth it at all.
Well, that's the thing, is The Room, you start off thinking, like, this is so bad, I'm going to be so bored, but then, because of how bad it is, it entertains you because you find it funny.
Yeah, well,
whereas I think that's what the other film probably doesn't. It's not funny, so
Yeah.
it's just like,
It's
this
very
is just
rare.
bad on its own.
It's very rare for films to be the level of bad that are so bad it's enjoyable to watch, especially more than once. Like, The Room is so good because you realise that so much of it is just Tommy Wiseau's brainchild, and it's just there's very little brain involved in it.
I enjoyed it more the second time, actually, as well.
Yeah.
I just thought it was, like, I kind of understood by the end of it why it was funny, so when I watched it the second time, I went in knowing it was going to be funny, and it still was.
Yeah, I agree, because I haven't seen it the second time. I'm going to be watching it the second time in the next couple of weeks with the guys. But yeah, I found it was good, but the first half hour I'm watching it, I'm like, why has Tom made me watch this? But then it kind of becomes, then it makes more and more sense, and the more you watch, you realize, oh wait, no, this film is fucking atrocious. And it's kind of like
Yeah.
pointing out and laughing. Like, the best thing to do is have a drink or something and watch with a couple of friends and just... Because it's just that there's certain parts, a lot of it is the repetitiveness of it as well.
Yeah.
Of just like every conversation ends up starting and ending the same.
Yeah.
And it's just always, as you say, when they don't want the plot to progress any further, they just go, I don't want to talk about this anymore, and then just leave.
I have to go, and then just leave the...
Yeah, just leave them in this one room. And then Reese actually said to me, he's like, why is it called The Room, and what's it about? And I was like, first of all, it's hard to explain what it's about. It's just kind of, I suppose, a guy whose girlfriend cheats on him with his best friend, and that's like the whole plot.
Yeah.
It's like an hour and 40 minutes. And this is Johnny. He's a true American hero.
And also maybe vampire.
We'll find out. Yeah, and you watch it, and yeah, it's so bad, and it's so repetitive, and which is ironic because I've just said these things. But it's certain parts, is like when you see some of the other details and whatnot, and when you point out, like, there's the breast cancer thing that just doesn't come up again, and then there's the pictures, the picture frames all have spoons in them, because I think they were the default ones they got when they were bought, and then Tommy Wiseau was like, no one will pay attention, we'll just leave it in there, so it's just loads of spoons in the background all the time of a lot of shots. And there's also, so Reese asked about it, and he was like, why is it called The Room? And I said, because I think Tommy Wiseau said it's called The Room because a lot of things happen in rooms.
Yeah, that's basically, it shows how many different things can happen in a room.
Yeah, it's like, well, relatively everything happens in a room. It either happens in a room or happens outside. There's not really any... So maybe a tent, but that's still technically outside. It's just like, you can't... That's such a vague thing. It's like calling a film like Air. It's like, why is it called Air? Well, everyone has to breathe air to live, don't they? So, well, you're not wrong. You're not technically wrong, but it's not a great idea. But he asked that, and then I realised when I was talking to him about it, it was... I was like, most of it takes place in a single room, but equally a pretty large amount of it takes place on the roof as well.
On the roof and outside, like all the football scenes, they're all outside.
Oh yeah, in the random fields nearby and stuff, and the alleyway that they made.
Yeah.
They play football outside a little bit, and in the alleyway, which is totally not dodgy.
And Lisa gets everyone to go outside, so that didn't happen in the room.
Oh yeah, that weird stuff.
Because that always happens at parties.
Yeah, there's like a party of like 20 people, and the host goes, "Hey guys, let's all go outside." And no one ever says why or says, "Oh, I'd rather stay in. It's pretty chilly." Everyone just goes, "Okay," and they just go in, and it's just a bang mark when everyone's out the room, and it's like, what? I'm not sure if Tommy Wiseau understands how people, or himself included, think.
Yeah, it's that accident.
Yeah, because in the Disaster Artist it says that, when he was it a car accident or something?
I thought it was a motorbike accident.
Motorbike, some sort of motor vehicle in a way, and he crashed it. He almost died, didn't he? He was like close to death, and I imagine that gave him a bit of brain damage, and now he's a bit fucked, and that's kind of why he made the film. Yeah, I wonder what it was like before the crash. Maybe it's just like a really average guy, but that crash, it makes you feel really bad for him. So
knowing that he was in some sort of crash, assuming that's what caused him to be the way he is, you do feel a bit bad for him. But...
Yeah, I'd imagine I imagine that's what kind of made him the way he is. It seems to be, and that would make sense because my brother works with a couple of people who have mental health issues, and one dude, he's a really nice guy, but he needs constant care. He was in a motorcycle accident. He got run over, I think, or something like that. And he was on a motorbike, I think, by another car or something, but it wasn't his fault, so they got like a huge payout and stuff. But he's he can talk to you and you can have a conversation, but you can tell when something's not fully right. It's kind of like that with Tommy Wiseau.
I just looked up. He was involved in a near-fatal car crash. Another driver ran a red light and hit his vehicle, and he was hospitalised for several weeks. So that was it. But here, this is just on Wikipedia, but it says Greg Sustero suggests that this incident was a turning point in his life and led him to pursue his dreams of becoming an actor.
Right. I wonder if all that money came from some sort of insurance thing with that.
Yeah, if they did run a red light, it would have been their fault.
Definitely,
So yeah. And if that did give him like long-lasting brain damage, then it might have been a very high sort of compensation, things like that.
Well, I think because obviously I work in insurance at the moment, so I'm learning ins and outs about that sort of thing. It's actually cheaper for insurance companies if someone is killed in a motor accident than if they're horrendously wounded. Because if they're killed, you give them X amount of money. I think it's quite a flat rate, but I can't remember what it is. And I think you may get a degree of loss of earnings if it's obviously single parents and stuff.
Yeah.
You can, there'll then be, if there are two people together and they have kids, then, you know, if one of them passes away, then you have to give money to the other one for a while. I'm not sure how long for, though. But if you get like damaged and hurt and stuff, and if
You have to cover the care.
Yeah, you have to cover the care for it. Obviously, in America, the hospital costs, and a large amount of other things. So it's always, maybe that gave him a decent amount of money. And I read some things online that said it was rumoured that he bought some real estate as well.
Yeah, because in the disaster artist, he's got like 2 houses or 2 flats.
But he's got 2 that he uses, but you see the set of keys he has. He has like 20-something keys. I didn't know if those 20 keys or something was going to show he just nicks someone's keys and just leaves in people's random flats and stuff, but no, it turns out he does actually own them. So yeah, I imagine he probably gets real estate and then got a lot of money off that and just kind of lives off that. Because that's the trick to do when you have a lot of money. If you get paid loads and loads of money, either for a job or you win the lottery or something like that.
Just invest in real estate.
Yeah, because even with the real estate, it's like even if you just rent it for a while and it's just a constant stream of money. Or you wait till prices go up and then you sell it for more.
Yeah, and then you use that money to
buy another one.
No, you buy all of the equipment for filming a movie instead of renting it, and then you film a movie.
And he also, in the disaster, keep knocking the pop shop, I'm doing terribly. In the disaster artist, obviously, he records in standard HD as well as, was it VHS?
Yeah, or whatever the other one is.
It's something like that, yeah. And it was like,
so I think it's like the scene with Chris R, not just Chris R.
Oh,
that's in HD.
Yeah. It's so weird. And also, when I think I should want to release one of the clips, one of my favourite ones, when it's in the shop. And it's like, you're my favourite customer and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Hi,
so
Dougie.
she says hi to him, then says, "Oh, sorry, I didn't recognise it was you."
Yeah, well,
and then says that he's her favourite customer.
I've got the little transcript here, and once again, for those who are still listening and haven't seen The Room, right, this is how good you can get with the dialogue. This isn't even the worst part, but it's a lot of it is the delivery. And it's Johnny speaking with the flower shop clerk. Okay, and it starts with Johnny, and it's like, "Hi, can I help you? Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please? Oh, hi, Johnny, I didn't know it was you. Here you go. That's me. How much is it? That'll be $18. Here you go, keep the change. Oh, hi, doggy. You're my favourite customer. Thanks a lot, bye." So, and that's the whole scene. That scene's like 30 seconds long? And it's, the weird thing is it's so, they talk at each other so quick. Like, he almost cuts her off to say his line.
Yeah.
And it's so inorganic, and she's just the most wooden actor ever. And it's also like, I think Cinema Sins, they have a video, obviously, of everything wrong with the room. And, in that they say, like, at the end, she says, "You're my favourite customer," but she doesn't recognise him because he's wearing sunglasses, even though no one on the whole planet looks like Tommy Wiseau, and no one on the planet looks like Johnny, his character, because they're both the same person.
Yeah.
So it's like, none of it, it seems like every like half scene is made by almost one person, and every other half scene is made by someone else.
Yeah.
And they didn't even necessarily kind of click them together properly. It just goes, and then all the actors are just in disarray. But yeah, so The Room it's terrible, but I feel like everyone should watch it.
Yeah, it's
an experience.
Yeah, watch it with your friends.
Yeah,
feel really awkward for like maybe 20 minutes. Where
there's 2 sections.
if no one there has seen it, you'll be like, "Why are we watching this?" But if like when we watched it and I'd seen it, it felt like I was just showing you softcore porn.
Yeah, at the start, she's got quite nice breasts as well, the woman. But it's like, I don't really want to watch really awkward, weird porn in a movie.
Yeah, sat with your mates, and it's like, okay.
I think the best sex scenes I've ever seen are in Deadpool. because
I'm so sorry.
You've ruining the integrity of the podcast. I'm joking. My alarm's gone off way too many times on podcasts. I've lost my train of thought slightly. I'm doing terrible. I think it's because I'm so hungover.
I was just thinking about
Fuzzy.
Also, we should mention the fact of just Callum coming in during the second sex scene.
Yeah, okay, I remember. Yeah, with the sex scene thing, I was going to say, in Deadpool's got my favourite sex scenes.
It's just because it's got the woman from Gotham that you like.
She's gorgeous, yeah. She's beautiful. But it's not just that, it's how realistic they are. Like, they're the sex scenes where it's not just like a 10-minute or 5-minute sex scene that's just slow music playing and just watching them derobe each other and then just slowly do stuff, but you're not allowed to see anything because it's obviously a film or whatever. And it's just like... It's like Green Mile, I think it was. Is it Green Mile or is it another one? There's a film that has a sex scene in it, which I find most sex scenes are fairly useless.
We talked about this before, didn't we? About how they're just really unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't know if we spoke about it on the podcast or not.
No, we didn't. But it's like 99% of the time, it's just unnecessary. Yeah. And it kind of feels like it's just the director's excuse to kind of...
watch porn.
Yeah, like get people naked and do...
Well, if this film bombs, I can at least direct porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, with the Deadpool one, I found that it was tasteful and it was quick and it showed a realistic side of being in a relationship and stuff. And
it was quite funny as well. Yeah. Like when obviously she dominates him instead. And
and tries to put something in his ass. He's like, oh god, take it out.
Yeah. The other one is in Master of None, Mornings.
That's a good one.
That was very realistic.
Yeah, but that obviously wasn't... The problem is with certain sex scenes is like the Room one. It's just two people and there's a camera just watching them in loads of different shots, just fuck for like 5 minutes. And it's like, this doesn't add anything to the story.
No, exactly.
Like, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. There's certain times where maybe if they're a bit crazy, like, what do we watch? Love, that show on Netflix.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You sound unsure. We know in the...
Sorry, I was trying to remember what sex scene you were talking about.
Well, I won't try and spoil it for anyone, but in one part of the series, and I can't remember if it's the first or second season, he sleeps with that woman, and they're fucking, I think, in the gym, and she keeps going on about the witches and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
really... Oh, no, it's not in the gym, it's back at his flat. But
I'm thinking of the blowjob. I'm thinking of the blowjob in the gymnasium.
Yeah.
That's like... That is funny because it shows that she's fucked up. She's really crazy.
Well, that's the thing, is if other things happen at the same time, or like, I don't know, say it is a film like The Room where someone's cheating on someone, that if they walk in and catch them doing it, then it was purposeful for the plot for them to be in a sex scene. But when it's just like, you could lead them up to indicate that they're going to do it without having to show it, because everyone watching will know that's what they're going to do.
Exactly. You watch people passionately make out and stuff, then you watch them undress each other, and then you could just do that thing where it's kind of, they start about to do stuff, and then it just kind of fades to black, and then next morning they're just laying next to each other naked. It's like, they've clearly had sex. Like,
yeah.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. That film is... Well, that's why The Disaster Artist is so brilliant. Because it's, as we said, it's like the making of almost. It's like a biopic. And it just makes me love the movie even more.
Yeah.
I just really want to... It makes me want to watch the movie again just because it's so weird and so different and crazy. And,
thinking of The Disaster Artist and the sex scene as well, because obviously he was like directing it naked.
Oh yeah, he's directing it naked, like just walking around with his dick out and like his ass. It's crazy.
He's just shouting at her for like not being beautiful enough.
Oh yeah, and he's
cover the moles,
those, freckles on her like
shoulders or something.
Yeah, shoulders sort of. Yeah, and just like moaning at her and stuff. And it's like everything's. It's just so weird.
There was quite a lot of heart in that movie, but that was probably the scene where I looked at Tommy Wiseau as just an absolute twat. During that one, because he was so harsh to the girl, and everyone just starts shouting at him, and he's just like, "Fuck off, you're fired."
Well, exactly, and that's the issue here, and it's like, oh, my mic is so far away. That's the issue. It's you feel sorry for him because you hear about the car crash thing or whatever that happened earlier in his life and gave him potential brain damage. That obviously that's what we think, and you feel bad for him, but then he acts like such a cunt.
Yeah.
Like to so many people so much. And just doesn't listen to anyone at all. And he just makes everyone not like him. And it's like, I do feel sympathy to a degree, but you are acting like an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, it does take... It's one of those things where it takes time... no, it's not. I was going to say... I don't know where I was going with that. It takes time, where they even came from.
It just takes time.
It just takes time. Everything takes time. Making a good movie...
Well, it's like he gets rejected and then you feel sorry for him, but then he does things like going up to that guy while he's eating his dinner and just unnecessarily like starts acting at him.
Yeah, I think he's got to be... That's got to be some sort of... It's at the very least some severe social probably not anxiety, but what people have when they have autism or
Yeah, it's quite
Asperger's.
deluded as well.
Yeah, he does. But I suppose he's got loads of money. I suppose you can act like a crazy bastard. I mean, to be fair to him, like he made one of the worst films ever made, but before even he made that, he's richer than you or I probably ever going to be.
No, he definitely is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like having one film like that where he makes a little bit of money off the disaster artist, and also when people are watching that, they're going to be watching The Room again. I imagine the sales of The Room are going to go up.
Yeah, and they'll probably do more of those sort of showings over in America.
Well, yeah, I think they'll probably do some at Harbour Lights. I imagine over here they'll probably could do like The Room, Disaster Artist double feature.
Yeah.
I was saying I imagine they would do this. It'd be quite stupid not to. But if they do a double release, like double Blu-ray of the Disaster Artist and The Room,
Yeah.
I'll hands down by that. Like you can't watch Disaster Artist if you haven't seen The Room.
Yeah, I remember ones that I can't remember where it was, but someone was saying like you don't need to, but it helps. But
That
for
was
that,
Jimmy Kimmel.
yeah, but for that, I just feel like you do have to watch it.
Yeah, I think if you haven't seen The Room, Disaster Artist is a pretty good, funny movie about a random guy. But
Yeah.
then when you see the film they actually made, and you see interviews with Tommy Wiseau, and you can tell he's kind of like in The Room. You think, oh, he's just the worst actor ever, and then Disaster Artist shows you, no, he's not even acting in that film. That's just how he is.
Yeah,
And that's
because he's not really a show. If by sort of that main scene of him not knowing the line is anything to go by, he's not actually that good of an actor anyway.
No, exactly.
So-
He's not a good actor. He's not a good writer. He's not a good producer. He just had a lot of heart and a lot of money.
Mm.
And that's the thing. You have enough money and you can throw things at it. Like, obviously, that film cost them loads of money to make. They could probably cut
6 million.
Yeah, that was the estimated thing, but no one really knows the exact amount. But it's like you could have easily cut that. Like, if he didn't buy that equipment, he just rented it, and then if he didn't have it recorded both on VHS and Blu-ray, you just have it, or HD rather. Blu-ray wasn't a thing then. And keep doing those sorts of things. It's like if he cut a lot of more of the fat out, it'd probably have cost him about half as much. But it's like making a film like The Room, that cost like millions. It's like, what the fuck?
Sorry, you saying about cutting the fat out? I was just trying to look something up, and I read apparently Greg Sustero said that when they played football while wearing tuxedos, Tommy Wiseau concocted that on set, sort of just like it wasn't planned.
Right.
But he never explained the significance of the scene to the cast or crew and insisted that the sequence be filmed at the expense of other relevant scenes. So he took out things that would have been more relevant for the film to put in a thing that he thought of on the spot of them playing football outside wearing tuxedos.
Yeah,
and didn't tell any of them why they were doing it.
And it's just that thing of where it's so baffling to me because it's literally like he's just crazy. There's nothing. There's nothing that makes any sense of what the way his mind works. But I'm surprised that Greg is still friends with him because apparently they still talk like every day.
Mm.
I don't know what you'd even talk to Tommy Wiseau about.
Yeah.
Like, what's he doing? Like, has he ever had sex? Well, that's a question. Like, if he's trying to fuck a woman's belly button, and if he's so weird and strange, like, how not in a horrible way intentionally, but how could you charm a woman if there's that to you? You know, if you're not a looker, then you have to kind of be charming or rich. And I suppose he's rich, but
yeah, and he can just be like, "Yeah, I'm a movie star," and then they watch it.
I wonder if now that The Room's become more and more popular recently, and with the release of The Disaster Artist, if more women would sleep with him.
Don't know. He'd probably got more chance now, I reckon.
I would not really want to see him having sex.
You already have.
True. There's two. Oh, we're going to say about the Callum thing. Yeah, Callum, who's obviously been in the podcast, he was coming over. Tom and I, when we were watching The Room a month or whatever ago, we started to watch it, and then Callum needed to come up and... What's he doing? He came to pick up something.
He's dropping off a crate of beer or something to you, or picking something up. I think you had a birthday present. He did that while he was here. I think you gave him a crate of beer, but maybe that wasn't the reason.
Yeah, if I gave him a crate of beer, that would have been for his birthday.
But I don't know if that was the reason he came over.
I think I told him that I've got the crate there and it's to give it to him or something. I can't.
The Room was the reason that he stayed, though.
Yeah, because he came in and we were watching The Room, and he came in during the second sex scene,
which is just a cut version of the first
one. Yeah, and he came in and was like, "Are you guys watching porn together?" And I was like, "No. If you keep watching this, you'll see it's clearly not porn because it's made so badly." And Cam was like, "Why is he fucking her like that?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's just a part of the movie, innit?" And he was like, "I'll follow you through it." And we said about 20 minutes, but it was like the first 10 minutes amounts to nothing plot wise.
Yeah.
And then also there's a sex scene, and the exact same sex scene but slightly shorter just gets repeated again 10 minutes later. So if you almost go into it after the second sex scene, it's almost like you don't miss that much.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much. You just miss some creepy Denny and things like that.
Well, the reason the film works so terribly is because you could basically take out any scene, and apart from like 3 main ones, you can basically just take out any scene. It's literally just her. It's obviously the ending scenes are what's necessary to wrap up the narrative, but apart from that, it's just like when they play football on the roof, like none of their conversations just go anywhere. None of it. It's just all in like loops. There's almost no information there. You could like write the whole conversation, like everything that could be said, in like 1 paragraph, or maybe not 1 paragraph, 1 page rather, or maybe 2. And you could make a film of about 5 minutes long, maybe 10 minutes long, with all the dialogue in that's even slightly relevant. Man.
The only thing of the Disaster Artist I don't know how true it is, or timing wise, is the ending. I said to you at the time, I wasn't, because at the end of that, obviously shows it being flipped that he's like, oh, it's a funny movie intentionally.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I read somewhere, which was what I was trying to find, that for quite a while he did insist it was like a serious movie. Right. And then, because the time had passed, he was like, no, it is a black comedy, it's meant to be like that. And so much time had passed with him saying it was serious that obviously no one was ever going to believe that.
Yeah.
But the film implies that he did that straight away, which I don't... Could be wrong.
Like what I said to you, I said one of my ideas was potentially because basically at the end of Disaster Artist they show the film to loads of people, and basically at the
it's
end
just a premiere, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was like at the end, everyone is laughing at it a lot, so bad. Then he comes out and he says it was a comedy intentionally, or ha ha. It was an intentional comedy, and it's like. Maybe for that one room, Willie's saying that, Willie, for that room of people watching the premiere, maybe he said it to them, and then afterwards he was still insisting it was serious because he wanted other people to...
Yeah, or he thought maybe they just thought it was funny, but other people may like it as a serious movie kind of thing, or he hoped they would anyway.
It's in the Disaster Artist, they're talking to him about certain things, and he just doesn't know a lot about movies or anything like that, and... Like some people have even questioned if he's even seen very many movies.
Well, that's funny because while I was trying to look this up, there was a someone had where was that gone? Oh, there it is. So the Disaster Artist co-writer explained his views on The Room, and he said it's like a movie made by an alien who has never seen a movie but has had movies thoroughly explained to him.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I would totally agree there.
There's not often that a work of film has every creative decision that's made in it on a moment-by-moment basis seemingly be the wrong one.
You used to get like some of the more visionary directors like Scorsese or obviously Wes Anderson's a bit more niche and strange, and David Fincher and those sorts of things. And you get a lot of those guys, and if you hear, they did like a last-minute tweak, then you go, that's amazing. But with Tommy Wiseau's, it just makes the film even worse.
Yeah.
But it's like I think in Star Wars Force Awakens... when Oscar Isaac's character Poe Dameron is at the very start, he's being like he's at Law Santucker's name of the guy, Jakku, bloody hell, the village in Jakku. When he's there, and then Kylo Ren captures him, and they go on their knees in front of the fire, and they're chatting a little bit. And when they weren't saying anything, Oscar Isaac goes, "So who talks first? Do you talk first? I talk first." And that was actually ad-libbed. That wasn't the script, and that's making it feel more organic. That's really what's needed. But you get films like, The Room, and it's just like...
Nothing about that is organic.
It all seems so forced.
Yeah.
Which it probably is.
I do feel sorry for the actors that were involved in that.
Yeah, because they were trying to make it big, and now it's obviously they're never going to...
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing them in there. Not only is... Admittedly, all their acting is pretty bad, but I think as Reese said, you could almost be... Like, with the scene with Denny, one of them, when they're talking on the rooftop about being in love with... Lisa and then not, and being in love with Elizabeth and that sort of thing. A great conversation. I think Reese was saying like if that guy Denny was played by anyone like a young DiCaprio or anything like that, it wouldn't matter because Tommy Wiseau's acting is so atrocious. It's like it saps any good acting.
And
out.
The script is so bad, and I imagine because Tommy was like writer, main star, it was like his thing. He probably didn't let any of them have any like creative, like if they're like, oh maybe I could say it like this, he'd be like, no.
Yeah, because obviously he was the writer, producer, and director, and he funded the film. And he basically, when you watch The Disaster Artist, it's like, he basically did everything, which explains a lot.
Yeah, but he makes out that in The Disaster Artist that he's doing it for him and Greg.
Yeah, because him and Greg make that pact. They're going to be famous movie stars, and they both keep applying for films. And it's like, Greg isn't really that great of an actor, so he can't, and Tommy Wiseau is so fucking weird.
Yeah, and they're just constantly like, can you just not do the accent? And
Yeah.
he's like, what accent?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm from New Orleans. It's like, I think I looked it up, and it's like one of the mysteries of Wiseau is he was born in like Poland, and I think he's born 1955, I think it was. So he's like 62. So he was like at the time he was about 20ish years ago.
Yeah,
So
in
he's
his
still
40s.
like, he was almost 50.
Yeah.
So it's like 40 to 50
I'm
years
the
old.
same age as you.
Oh yeah, when they've got Denny and they're saying to the actors like, so how old is my character supposed to be? Is he like 12, 18, 20? And it's like, how old are you? So I'm like 27, but like I thought it was acting. It's like, you be that old. It's like, what's the character 27 or? And it's like,
There's like a 27-year-old that needs a random man in his block of flats to look after him.
yeah, and really weird. And he just keeps walking in now, and no one ever locks their doors. And just, oh man, I think about the film so much last week. The Room. It's just since watching The Disaster Artist, I just can't stop thinking about it. I've just got when you get like songs stuck in your head. I get like lines from The Room stuck in my head. It's on like a loop of someone going, "Oh hi Mark, oh hi
You're
Doug,
tearing me apart, Lisa."
you're tearing me apart, Lisa." Yeah, so let's get on to The Disaster Artist a bit more. So obviously Franco, I think directed it, and I think he was the star in it. Him and Dave Franco.
He probably did that to fully get into character as well.
Probably, yeah, I think he did.
Because I know he was in character while doing it, but he probably chose to direct and star in it for the same reason.
Yeah, because there was an interview we listened to. He was directing it first. That was a well-known thing. And then he was also planning on starring in it as well. And then he asked Wiseau who wants to play him. And Wiseau said Johnny Depp. And James Franco laughed. He was like, are you joking? But,
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. But yeah, James Franco's impression of him is just top-notch. And like, at the end of the movie... it does like shot by shot parts, doesn't it? Of the end of Disaster Artist, and it does. All of them are pretty much perfect, except the one which is the I did not hit her, it's bullshit. I did not. Oh hey Mark, that bit was a little bit out, but
some of them have got timing differences, but it's
but his delivery, Tommy Wiseau's delivery, is so weird and inorganic that it's hard. Like if you're copying someone, like even any instruments or saying anything normal, if you show someone like on a keyboard go dun dun dun, and you copy it, it's much easier than if you just do like one like a minor key at the very bottom of the piano and then or keyboard, and then right at the very top you just do another random note and another one, but like in weird, like not even in time with each other. And so trying to remember that is so much more difficult than remembering something that's linear and easy.
Yeah, the only thing that The Disaster Artist didn't address that I was hoping it to was the like how badly dubbed The Room is.
Yes, I was going to talk about this actually.
Yeah,
because Reese knows that.
Yeah,
as well.
because obviously when you're watching it, sometimes like his mouth literally isn't moving, and is it speaking, or it's just clearly not saying the same thing.
Yeah. Well, there's that whole high doggy bit in the shop, and you watch that, and Reese was like, "Is there something wrong with this audio clip, or is it just the film?" And I was like, "Oh, he overdubs it," and he was like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "Yeah, the Tommy Wiseau decided to he recorded because you told me this, I think just after we watched The Room, how long ago, where they have conversations and he'll listen to the audio back and it won't be perfect, and instead of just filming it again he would just talk over it in his normal weird voice. So it's just like certain scenes, it's like you can almost hear the slight difference in audio, like the slight change in it. And you see there's the whole high doggy thing, and then there is a point where he literally doesn't even say any part of his line, and you see his mouth doesn't move at all and things coming out. It's like there's another one which was in Disaster Artist where someone said to him about continuity. It's like you can't wear the same clothes because the last scene you can't wear the different clothes because the last scene you were in, you literally left the place, went straight upstairs to go to the roof, and now you're coming out of the roof wearing different clothes.
Yeah, the makeup artist was like, "Let me take a picture for continuity," and he's just like, "I don't care." Just shoves loads of stuff in his pockets.
Yeah, so it's like really low hanging.
And she's like trying to style his hair, and he's just constantly telling her to do it, and she's like, "It's gonna look awful." He's like, "No, I know how to do it."
He's like spraying it with that water, and it's like really damp, and she's like, "Your hair is literally soaked now." And he's like, "More," and it's like, "But I can, but it's going to look horrendous on screen." It's like, he's like, "I director, I tell you." And he does it, and then you notice in the film, he does actually have like really weirdish hair. But like Greg being friends with him, like there's that scene where Greg leaves his mum, and apparently that scene basically did happen.
Who was played by Tammy from Parks and Rec.
Yep, good old Tammy. And which is Ron Swanson, who is Nick Offerman in real life, his
and
real
she's
wife.
His wife.
Yeah. And apparently it was very similar to that. And it's like, if I had a son who was How old was Greg at the time? He was like 20 something, wasn't he?
He's in his 20s, yeah.
He was early 20s, I think.
I think so.
I think it wouldn't be surprised if it was our sort of age. And he goes up to LA with a dude that he barely knows on a road trip, almost. Not on a road trip, to go live up there, rather.
To live in his house.
Yeah, and he's like 47. The guy's like, 20 something, and they're both trying to make movies together. It's just like, I suppose Greg didn't have that many friends when he was that sort of age, but I don't know why or how. I'm not attacking him in any way. Some people say
there wasn't a lot the mum could have done, really. Like,
no, you can tell them to stop, but you have no power over your children at the end of the day in the law. Like if they're under 18, you can stop them, but obviously he was over that, so you couldn't. But yeah, I think a Disaster Artist, one of the reasons it's so beautiful is because, the first half hour isn't as interesting, but it's like when he's actually filming it, it's so interesting. And yeah, apparently, according to a lot of people involved, they're all saying like this is pretty spot on. Like most of this he did do.
Yeah.
To exactly how it was done. Because Tommy Wiseau recorded like constant footage from making of the film. He just hired some dude with a camera to literally record everything.
Yeah.
So James Franco watched a few of them, or probably quite a lot of them, to sort it out. And apparently James Franco listened to... Tommy's got these audio recordings he did, where he just talks to himself in the car and records it and keeps it.
Yeah.
And he let James Franco hear some of them. And James Franco was like, that. Some of them are quite weird, but some of them are really like touching and beautiful, some of the things he comes up with all by himself. But that's how Franco became such a good Wiseau.
Yeah.
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 Good old James Franco. But yeah, with the Disaster Artist, I'd probably give that. I think I gave it like 8.5 out of 10 or something. That sort of idea.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good movie, and I think if you haven't seen The Room, there's almost no point watching it. Or you can watch that and they'll make you want to watch The Room and then watch it again.
Yeah.
But it's really one of those films that you do need to see The Room for it, because it's just all the subtleties and all the things you love about The Room. There's like a thing that people throw like spoons at when they go to the cinema, and there's the scene in which all the spoons can be most clearly visible, and people just start throwing spoons at the cinema screen. It's like, I love weird little things like that.
Yeah.
That was like, because that was before the internet was properly a thing, like in the late 90s. And obviously people didn't know of the internet, and there were certain businesses that used them, but it wasn't obviously like today with social media.
The Room came out in 2003.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, did it start filming earlier? No, wait. No, the filming didn't take that long.
Then again, from the Disaster Artist, it said like, I don't know how many months passed between the film actually being released, because they weren't talking, were they, during that time?
Yeah.
So I think, there's the possibility late 90s it might have started. Not 100% sure. Obviously, you find out that it goes way over the expected time to film. He's got like 40 days, and then it just starts going like day 63 or 40
Things like that.
filming. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, I'm just looking up. I was trying to find when The Room was actually filmed.
The other thing I was going to talk to you about The Room earlier was I don't understand why. Well, you're not supposed to understand any part of The Room because none of it makes sense anyway. But the mum, she moans about. She's for the first part of the movie, she seems to be the only grounded character who's like, why the fuck are you letting people constantly come in your house?
Yeah.
Why are you looking after this old man child called Denny? But when he walks in, she is like, who even is this guy? And then she's moaning about him. And then literally 2 minutes later, he has that argument with Chris R. And she's like, why are you doing drugs, Denny? How could you do this to me? And it's like, you literally don't know who this kid is. And you were moaning about him a minute ago.
I know, it's crazy.
There's so many things like that I love.
Yeah, but so many things in the film. That's why it's such a cult film, and it was almost like, I suppose obviously it was about with the internet, but I was saying it's kind of like what memes are like today.
Yeah, it is kind of like an original meme.
Yeah, it was like when certain things, they're so bad that people love it, and it becomes this huge thing, like cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
I love people do that. It's great. Obviously, you got me into The Room, so you're the reason for that for me, but it was just like, it's an experience, and it's so much fun.
Yeah. We were saying when we saw The Disaster Artist, we should have taken American footballs, though.
I would have loved to have.
So good.
I would loved to have taken the football and just thrown down.
Just while we're waiting to go in, we got there like really early.
Yeah, or just stand outside the cinema screen, like before the film starts, just throwing the American football back and forward constantly. The Room was originally written as a play by. God, imagine that being as a play.
Ooh.
Oh, that'd be even worse.
Go and see that live.
Fuck. He adapted the play into a 500-page book, which he was unable to get published. Well, no fucking. Obviously. You know what I mean?
It's even worse reading. Actually, was it worse reading the quotes, or
I don't know, because
it takes away the funny side of things when you read them.
Well, that's the thing, because half of it is just so. it's a lot of the script is so poorly written that you can't say any of the lines with, like, you could be the greatest actor ever, and you say any of the lines, it just doesn't work at all. But you have, you not only have it where they're all okay actors or bad-ish. Like some of them are normally not too bad, but some of them are definitely not that great. There's that guy who gets the blowjob, which I feel like he should be called Brock. I don't know what his name is. And it's just like his reaction faces to the blowjob is so unrealistic. It's just unfathomable. It's like
she hasn't even got anywhere near there.
Yeah, it's like her chin is like by his snail trail rather, like between his belly button and his dick, and it's like her chin is like there, and he's already doing a face that I've never seen him before. It's just like he curls his lips in and opens his mouth really wide.
Those are such pointless characters.
Yeah, what do they even do? Like
they go into the house, they do that in their thing, then the mum...
They do that in the thing.
Oh, yeah, she does. She gives him the blowjob in the room.
Yeah.
And then the mum and Lisa come in and catch them, and then they leave, and then I think they're at the party at the end, and it's just like, I think she's constantly going, me and you don't agree, Lisa. It's like, who would agree with Lisa?
Yeah, she's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
I just looked it up, and it was the film was made around 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I thinking of then? I'm crazy, but yeah, 2003. The Room. Yeah, it's one of those where the thing is, those two characters being pointless. You are right there, but
so many of the characters are pointless.
None of it makes any sense. The psychologist is pointless. The mum's pointless. And what seems to happen is Lisa will just have the same conversation. I think we counted it like 4 or 5 times. The exact same thing has been discussed with her mate. Of her mate basically saying, "Oh, Lisa, you're so crazy. I can't imagine you. Can't believe you're doing this. It's not very nice to do, is it? Ha ha ha." And then Lisa's like, "I do what I want. You know, I have them both. I can have whatever I want."
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
I don't love Johnny anymore. I love Mark.
Yeah. But I don't love him anymore. I love Mark. Just constantly.
Yeah.
We saw that in Martin's thing when she says it like 15 times.
And then whenever the friends pick up on it or question her about it, she's like, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I just want to talk about
the end.
So, okay, don't then. Yeah, I found that Disaster Artist I really am annoyed we missed the post-credit scene though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Even though I looked it up and it said there was one, and then it came up at the end, and then the shot-by-shot one came out where it's got...
I think, we assumed that was it.
Yeah, and also I didn't have a very good signal in there, and I was like, surely it won't have a post-credit scene, and it does, and it's like, and it's got a Tommy Wiseau cameo in it. It's like, why didn't I see that? I don't like post-credit scenes. Marvel ruined it for me. Because I stay back and watch pretty much all the Marvel ones, but the first after-credit scene is normally quite cool, and you only have to wait like a minute or so for that. But it's when you get the after-credit scenes, which is after the whole thing, the whole movie, and the whole credit scene, which is like the standard black and white scrolly text one. And they can be like 4 or 5 minutes long sometimes. You just sat in the cinema like, come on. And then you finally get to watch the after-credit scene, and it's pretty much always absolutely fucking terrible. That's kind of the joke. You know, the Guardians of the Galaxy one was a Howard the Duck reference, and then I think the one at the end of Avengers is when they go and get some shawarma, and they just sat eating shawarma in this random little stingy kebab house, and no one's talking, and it's things like that. And it's after credit scenes, it's like, especially because no one tells you anymore. You basically have to Google it before you go watch a movie, and if people online have said, "Oh, there is a post-credit scene," then you have to wait, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
There's no need. It's so annoying.
I'm sure it'll be up on YouTube soon, so...
I have Googled it over the last couple of days, but it hasn't come out, but I imagine it will just come out, as soon as it comes out on Blu-ray or whatever, it will come out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because it's the easiest way for people to rip them. What would you give Disaster Artist out of...
Probably agree, you're probably right, 8.5 sort of thing. I mean, it's not like the best movie you'll ever watch, but it's a solid movie choice.
Yeah, I think
that's definitely a good laugh.
I think The Room as a rating is, like 1 out of 10, but I think as enjoyment-wise, it was probably like a 6-ish, maybe 7 out of 10. Which doesn't sound that high, but the thing is, once you then watch The Disaster Artist, which is like a 9 out of 10... It
pushes The Room up.
Yeah, it pushes them both up. They push each other up, you know, and I find that I now would say The Room, enjoyable-wise, now that I've watched it once, and I know a lot of the jokes about it, and also I've seen The Disaster Artist, I'd find it probably be like an 8 out of 10 for enjoyment. Because you said, when you rewatched it was funnier. Yeah,
it's definitely, because you're not sort of confused at why you're watching this terrible thing for half of it.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else really with the film. I mean, there's loads of cameos in it, which are really fun.
Yeah, loads of celebrities.
Yeah, and there's a bit at the start where there's the celebrities. Got Ben from Parks and Rec.
Yeah,
what's his name? Wyatt? No,
Wyatt.
It's Ben Wyatt in the film, isn't it?
Adam Scott?
I think it is Adam Scott, yeah, I think so. You get J.J. Abrams there, you've got him there, you've got... a few other actors that I can't fully remember, and they were talking about how that the movie was just like changed their lives and stuff, and they saw it for the first time and they just couldn't even believe it and things like that. It's just so cool. It's become this, the cultural phenomenon. But yeah, I cannot, for anyone, I'd say watch The Room because it's an experience and it's just so terrible and you've got to watch the whole thing. It's great. And then watch Disaster Artist. It's kind of like, it's almost ironically, because we're talking about Parks and Rec, it's almost like watching a crap first season and then the second or third season just is so much better that it makes it
but you can't say Parks and Rec season 1 is anywhere near as bad as The Room.
No, God no. Parks and Rec season 1 is like really okay, most of it, and there's a couple of alright moments, but doesn't really do anything that much. Whereas obviously season 2 is really good, and then season 3 to 7 are just phenomenal. But then The Room is just absolutely atrocious in every conceivable way. Like I genuinely think the best things about that movie is that Greg is fairly good looking, and the woman Lisa gets her breasts out that are nice. That's literally exactly. Those two, like a dude being attractive and a woman getting her breasts out. That's the best part of the film. It's like that's not a great film. See Tommy Wiseau's fucking ass though, and that picture that he took for the cover of it, I could understand.
Yeah,
so he looks like he's having a stroke.
Yeah, it's really weird.
And he put up a billboard when the film was released before the premiere, and it says The Room, and it says some stuff on the billboard.
I think you that said that he's renting it indefinitely.
What?
That billboard.
Oh, no, I don't think he did.
Oh. Someone told me, or I thought I remember hearing someone say that he rented it indefinitely. Like, obviously, like until a certain point, but
that was like 20 years ago.
Before he decided to take it down, but it was like indefinite.
I have no idea about that, I'm afraid. Mm-hmm. I obviously saw it in Disaster Artist, and I've seen pictures of it, and it's just his weird face, but it's like he has no understanding of what humans like and how humans interact with things. Like having a picture of some dude who looks like he's having a stroke on a face, and the film being called The Room. It's like, what about that makes you want to see it? And you had to look at the billboard and then call the number on the billboard, which was Tommy's direct phone number, and then he would either convince you to go watch the film or then he'd sell you tickets. So you just have to call him and get him to convince you. And it's like, I think if I wanted to see that movie and I spoke to Tommy Wiseau, he would convince me to not watch it. Even though I would love to meet Tommy Wiseau.
Okay, one of the few methods of promotion he used for The Room was a massive billboard in Hollywood. The billboard, which had his face, it stayed up for over 5 years, costing Tommy in the neighborhood, basically costing him about $300,000.
Jesus Christ. 5 years. What the that must have been such an eyesore there for that long. With his weird face on it. Man.
Just there's an article that says 10 things about Tommy Wiseau. Obviously the first one is the weird $6 million budget that no one knows where it came from. Apparently he, in an interview, he also said that he thinks The Room lowered America's crime rate.
What? How would that... What? Was it because they were all just... Everyone was inside having a good time laughing about that film so much no one wanted to hurt each other?
I don't know. He just said some weird thing in an interview that didn't make any sense, but he basically said that he thought that...
I saw one interview of him where he was talking about James Franco said, so do you like The Disaster Artist? And he's like, I love it. And he's like, he said, I love 99.9% of it. And he's like, oh, what's the 0.1%? And every time I've seen him ask him it in 2 different interviews, and both times he said something different. The first interview, he said it was James Franco, Dave Franco, Greg Sustero, and Tommy Wiseau. And they were talking about it, and he said 99.9%. And then James Franco was like, oh, what was the 0.1%? And he was like, you know the swimming pool scene? I didn't like how the camera moved. And James Franco was like, but in that scene we had a still camera. It was like there wasn't any movement with the camera.
Yeah.
And then Tommy Wiseau was like, and then just started talking about something else. It's like,
this is another fact about him. Apparently, even though he was happy to direct naked and all that, he's disgusted by farts, and when a crew member farted on set, he exploded at them, saying, please don't do this ridiculous stuff, it's disgusting as hell, and he would refuse to get his Mercedes-Benz valeted out of the fear someone would fart on his seats.
Okay.
He just gets weirder the more you delve into him.
I know. I just can't. He's so weird. I wonder if he's going to try and make another movie, or if he's going to make a Netflix show. There's going to be some sort of like a proper documentary with him in it and talking to him about all this sort of stuff. Like, I wonder if anything, because he's got so much money. I wonder if he thinks he's like The Room became quite successful and stuff, and it's like I wonder if he would actually make another film like that. I think if he did, I wouldn't want to watch it though.
No, I feel like it's going to be a one thing.
Yeah, few films are that level of bad. Like as James Franco said, I think the Citizen Kane of bad films, where it's so bad in all the right ways.
But I think if he did it again, everyone will kind of know that he's doing it the same way, intentionally, whereas that was clearly made unintentionally to be that bad.
Yeah, and also he's got such a lack of seemingly imagination or really anything when it comes to writing. It's like that the way it was filmed, that's the most basic, simple premise of a film that you can deal with is basically relationships. It's easy to do because you just film it inside a house. So even though he didn't, but it's much cheaper to make as well. Whereas if you want to make a film which has anything happen in it at all, it costs a lot of dollar.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I'm not sure what else there is. Don't know if there's anything else to add. We're coming up to the hour mark.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just Disaster Artist was good. Watch The Room first, I think.
Yeah, watch The Room. It's the best, worst movie you ever see.
Start quoting it with your friends all the time.
Oh, hi, doggy. It's great. And just yelling at each other that you're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Yeah.
That's
Which saddens me that he stole that.
Yeah, but I don't think we mentioned that, did we? In this
No.
one? No, in the podcast, because we were talking about it a little bit before. Yeah, he stole it, because in the Disaster Artist it shows you it was in was it James Dean movie?
Yeah, I think so. He saw someone say something similar, so he
he's-
just wrote that into his own one.
I think he did kind of yell it with quite a bit of emotion, like, you're tearing me apart, Lisa! And then, and obviously the film, he does it, and it's like, oh, okay. I think, yeah, the most iconic and probably the best bit is the whole, I did not hit her, it's not true, it's bullshit, I did not hit her, I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah, just with the shitty green screen and...
Yeah, where it's like there's a green screen and you can actually see it really easily a lot of the time, and it's like, why didn't they just film on a roof? And there's no wind or anything. So they were just standing on the top of this flat block roof, and there's no wind of any kind or any sounds of any kind. It's just all green screen.
Yeah.
So you want it to be too Hollywood movie.
Yeah. And you can leave your super comments in your pocket.
Oh yeah, again, that's what was it? Mark says to. He said to Tommy or Johnny or Lisa.
I think he says it's someone else at the party when they're sort of judging him for making out with Lisa in front of absolutely everyone without even telling anyone what's going on.
Yeah.
So the whole movie they spend trying to hide the secret, and they're just like, eh.
Yeah, let's just do it. Why not?
Yeah.
And Tommy with his great tape recorder where he tries to record a phone conversation, and it's like, what?
You don't need to record someone who's just admitted to you that they've cheated on you.
If they'd admitted to you that they're cheating on you, then you make the decision to break up with them. You don't need to prove to anyone else.
But the thing is, he doesn't. He doesn't, like, take the tape and go, look, everyone, listen to this. He just plays it back to Lisa, or, like, to himself while Lisa's there.
Yeah.
It's like, she knows what she said. She was there.
If you lie to someone and then you say, look, I've recorded you talking in another room saying these exact things, and then you say them right, the person isn't going to deny it. Unless if they do, well, I suppose then you can bring out the tape recorder.
Yeah, that would be the only conceivable way that he should take that up.
I suppose, but it's like you don't need any reasons from anyone else of why you would break up with your partner who's cheating on you. You just say, she was cheating on me because she was a bitch. And
yeah.
That's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right, I think that about wraps it up then, about that great mov. I'm sure we'll have another podcast in the new year or something. I want to get Laura on here, have you two sat on my sofa of doom. Or you're currently laying on it to move the mic stand.
I am. It's been so comfy.
Yeah, I'm pretty chill.
I bet you regret not doing this.
Laying down. This sofa I can't lay down on because it's so small and it's quite crappy. But I feel if I lay down I'll fall asleep. I'm so lethargic at the moment. Like I can't be bothered to do anything.
Yeah.
So we went to bed what, 4ish. I woke up at like 10. We woke up at like 9. So if we feel a bit zoned out and tired, then we're sorry.
Yeah. The other thing I would say about the Disaster Artist, just to finalise it, would be basically any questions that you have about the room, it will either answer them or an actor will ask that same question to James Franco as Tommy Wiseau during the movie, and you'll completely agree with them and still not understand why.
Yep, that's the beauty of it. That's the absolute beauty of that movie.
Yeah.
The Disaster Artist.
It's just like the whole, haha, what a story, Mark.
Yeah.
It's just like, he says like, why are you reacting like that?
Yeah, because there's a girl.
That's exactly how everyone feels when they watch it.
Yeah, it's like the guy, Mark, I think he's talking about some woman who's dating like 12 guys or something, and one of them found out and then like beat her up incredibly bad and I think hospitalised her or something. And then Tommy's like, ah ha ha ha. And it's like,
what a story, Mark.
Yeah, ah ha ha. What a story, Mark. And it's like, yeah, there's no logic why is he laughing, and then they talk to him about
and the Seth Rogen guy, or Seth Rogen's character, is just like, can you just do that with a different reaction? It wasn't a funny story. Why are you laughing?
Yeah.
It's this human emotion.
Humans are crazy. You don't know what they do. Oh, man. But yeah, that film, Disaster Artist, is so much better when you've seen The Room, and The Room is so much better when you've seen Disaster Artist. So go out, watch those movies. We need more people on Tommy Wiseau in the film industry.
Yeah, and let's get James Franco an Oscar.
Oh yeah, has he had an Oscar yet?
I don't know. I've read a couple of things that people want him to get one for that, but he won't.
He might do. Maybe. It's a biopic, which does fit into, normally when they do, obviously normally the biopics are about Gandhi or the Queen or someone else, not just...
So Tommy Wiseau is in Elite Company.
Yeah.
Gandhi, the Queen, Tommy Wiseau. That's a Come Dine With Me episode that I want to watch.
With Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah. And the Queen.
That would be so weird. I just want to meet the guy, but I don't know how long I could stand by him and be in his presence. Like, I think I'd like to meet him for like 2 minutes, and that'd be enough for me. I think more than that, it'd just be too much.
Yeah, it would either be too much or it would like ruin the kind of image you have of him being such a weirdo. Because if he didn't do anything that weird while you met him, you'd kind of be disappointed.
Yeah, you always want the crazy ones to do something crazy. Oh well. Yeah, well, thanks for chatting, Tom. It's been about an hour now, so we'll wrap this up.
No worries.
Cool. And that's the end of another episode. As always, thanks for tuning in, guys, and obviously you can find us on all the usual social media outlets and whatnot. Next week's one will either be with my buddy Dom, part 1 of it, or it might be another science one with Josh, or it might be something completely random and different. I doubt the last of those 3 will be an option, because this is probably the only impromptu podcast I've done and released it the same day. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Next week, I'm not fully sure. Just have to keep up with us on social media and whatnot. Yeah, I don't think there's really much else to say after a conversation just about The Room and Disaster Artist for an hour. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.